A few years ago, I think it was in about 2008, our kids gave us dancing lessons as a Christmas gift. I know, it sounds great, doesn't it? But I was thrilled to death to get this gift of dancing lessons because it's something that I had always wanted to do in our marriage. What I was not prepared for, though, was how much I was going to learn about marriage in those dancing lessons. I really had no idea. So we walked into our first dancing class, and it was an hour lesson or maybe hour and a half, and I thought, I've got this. I can help him. We can do this together. And I was charged and ready to go. And by the time the first lesson was over, I realized, first of all, I wasn't as good as I thought I was. And secondly, I had a lot to learn about following his lead. Because when you dance, unless you're dancing solo, it's always a duet. It's always a partnership. And one person has to lead and the other person has to follow. And in most dancing situations, the man leads, the woman follows. Have you watched Dancing with the Stars? Anybody? Right? Who leads? The man leads. Who follows? The woman follows. Who has the most beautiful costume, however? Who gets to do all the twirls and the spins and the lifts and all the really beautiful things? It's the woman. But what does she have to do to be able to do those, to execute all of that? She has to follow his lead. And how much practice do they put in on those things? Tons of hard work, tons of practice. And the reason they have to do that is because she has to be so intimately acquainted with his style of leadership and where he's taking her that she can follow almost blindfolded. And that's a picture of marriage. Because I learned in our dancing lessons that I had to trust my husband, who I didn't think was a good dancer. I thought I was better than he was. And aren't we like that in our marriages a lot? How many of us women think we're smarter or better or know how to get there faster? Or we're more skilled or we've got better training? I mean, it could be anything. And yet, God has said that the husband is the one to lead in this duo called dancing in marriage. So I learned in those dancing lessons that I had a long ways to go yet in following my husband and learning to trust the way he was leading. And interestingly, when I tried to correct him, which I did, and tried to help him remember because the teacher would give us these instructions and we would listen and then we would imitate. And when I would try to help him do what the instructor had just said, he made more mistakes because he was listening to the instructor and me. But when I finally got the message that I needed to keep my mouth shut and let him pay all of his attention to the instructor, he did much better. I mean, he did a lot better. And he was aware when he made a mistake and he apologized for it and corrected it much more quickly than when I was trying to help him do it. And I went, how much am I doing this in my marriage at home? If I'm doing this in dancing lessons, how many times have I making the same mistake at home? How many times am I trying to help him by suggesting things or, maybe you try it this way, honey. And I need to let him lead and let him figure it out on his own. I think we're
And let him listen to
the instructor.
The Lord.
God is the master choreographer. God has choreographed the dance of marriage. He is the one who designed it. He's the one who made you, and he's the one who made your husband. I need to be listening to the choreographer too. My husband needs to listen to the choreographer, but he doesn't need my help in listening to the choreographer. And that's where we get it messed up sometimes, is I'm trying to help him do what I think God's telling him to do.